Today we're working on a Hustler Super 104 huge zero turn. Okay, customer developed a hydraulic leak, and come to find out his filter was loose. So he didn't know what oil to put in it. He assumed, being how it's a hydraulic system, that it would be hydraulic oil. So he put AW32 regular standard hydraulic oil in this thing, and as soon as he took off, it was screaming. So I'm in the process of draining this out. You can see how good it looks here. The thing holds a ton of oil. Let me get up under here. I'll show you what it's looking like. You can see how it was leaking down through here. Let me get my fat fingers out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and replace that hose, that return hose, and that return hose, just because I'm down here and I can't rule them out on the leak, but this thing was pretty loose. You can see this filter here screws right into the bottom of the reservoir, and it was leaking around that O-ring right there. So anyway, what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to let it drip dry for a little while, get as much as I can out, and due to the fact that it had regular hydraulic oil in it, I've got to take everything apart and clean them out. I'm going to have to take the bolts off the wheel motors, or the lines off the wheel motors, make sure I get all the oil out of there. I'm going to have to roll the wheel motors over by hand, see if I can pump as much of that out as I can. Once I get all the lines out, or all the oil out of the lines, all the oil out of the motors, and I'm going to spin the pumps over and make sure it gets any oil out of the pumps that it can. Then I'll go ahead and put fresh oil and a fresh filter in it and run it, and if it has any squeal at all to it, then it's getting another $140 filter or whatever it is. I know they're expensive, and another oil change. This is a very costly mistake for something that could have been easily avoided. Had he put the 20W50 engine oil that gets supposed to go in this thing in there and brought it to me, I could have literally rolled under here, tightened it up, sprayed it off with some brake clean, wiped it down, made sure it wasn't leaking, and sent him on his way. And to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't even have charged him for that service, because it would have been so quick and painless. However, here we are. That's a shame. I'll bring you guys along with me, and we can do this one together. I haven't got to make a long video in a couple weeks, so anyway, we'll see you guys in a bit. I've got it circulating now. I'm going to change the oil twice. I want to make sure that the oil cooler gets good and flushed out. And it's up top. So I got to wait. These lines get good and hot. Got to run these deck cylinders up and down. Because they run off the same system. Tied the sticks forward with a little bit of pull rope cord. Not all the way forward, I didn't want to make them strain. there's the new filter. Actually, that's number 2. I went ahead and changed the filter in between oil changes, but I went ahead and flushed the system. I drained the system. I put a new filter in it. I filled it with oil. I ran it for about an hour to make sure it was good and flushed. I drained the system again, which you do by pulling that filter out. And I cracked the lines loose at the wheel motors, and I made sure that, there wasn't any contaminants down there or anything like that. Put it all back together with the second filter, filled it up, and there doesn't seem to be any whining, so I think he may have averted disaster. Now, what he did say was that he only put the, good grief. He said he only put the hydraulic oil in there long enough to get it on the trailer and then take it off the trailer at my shop. So it's a good thing he didn't run it like that. I'm going to slap these wheels and tires back on there and get him built out and get it back to the customer. Let me show you something else about these things. There is no room in between that batwing deck or piece of the deck there and the hub to get those tires on and off without pulling the valve core out and flattening the tire. And I think that's the most ridiculous thing. Either side, you can see, that's a pretty wide tire and there ain't a lot of room there. I mean, good grief. Yeah. That's a 12-inch wide tire. So, I don't know, man. Well, that's a repair video for you. This customer will be back at mowing for you before you know it. Well, I guess the grass has got to grow first, but anyway, hope you guys have a good day. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're almost to 700 subs now, and I'd like to hit 1,000 before the end of this year, so that'd be great. God bless.